Hello, guys. I'm doing this to trigger the ugly hoes. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I have this thing where I like to annoy basic ass people who get annoyed for like this, bro. Get it? You let things like this trigger you? You're that weak up here. I'm gonna actually try to. Oops, I dropped it. Oops. I'm going to try to strengthen your weak ass, bitch ass brain by applying it in the beginning of every live. Mwah, 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 mwah. Hello, guys. Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. I guess I should stop wasting time. I should stop bullshitting. Welcome, everyone in the chat. I will eventually try to catch up. I want to talk about Eric Gower. Sus as fudge, right? He is suspicious, guys. And look, Eric Gower, I'm going to refresh your memory. But this alone, in my opinion, what I'm about to cover, in my opinion, is enough to reopen the case. In my opinion. By the way, these are all my opinions, my theories, and they are for entertainment purposes only, and everything here is alleged. I wanted to remind you guys because on November 13, 2022, guess who texted Eric Gower, the private driver? Dylan Mortensen, right? At 2:10 a.m., Dylan is texting Eric, asking if he's still driving. Are you still driving, Eric? Are you still driving? Now, why is she texting him at 2:10? Dylan had mentioned that they wanted to go out again to get more food from the grub truck, which allegedly closes around, 3, right? That alone doesn't make sense to me. Like, the girls had literally just gotten there. Kaylee and Maddie had just gotten there from the grub truck. Eric said that they were eating. They had been eating the entire time. Why would they go again? Okay, maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were just whatever, right? They were drunk, or they were under the influence of maybe substances, maybe. But Dylan's saying they want to go out again, right? But this is what struck me as odd. This next document, which is Eric Gower's interview with Idaho State Police, right? Mind you, he did not do this interview with state police until a week after. A week after. A week after. The man who was cleared with a Taco Bell receipt. The man that is more shady than Brian Koberger. What did he tell the girls? This is what he told the girls. I'll refresh your memory. Gonsalves had contacted a man by the name of Eric Gower to give them a ride from their house. When he arrived to pick, Gonsalves got in the front seat and Mogan got in the back seat. Eric had recently had a baby, and they asked him how fatherhood was. He said he was feeling down. He was feeling down after baby? Okay. All right, Eric. I was going to say congratulations. But you're feeling down, right? Okay. He said it was harder than he'd expected, and it kind of been hard on him. It'd been hard on him. Really? It was hard on you? Oh my God. You had to go through a whole 9-month pregnancy? It was hard on you? You mean it was hard on your wife? And I'm not trying to downplay the role that men play in pregnancy, but come on, bro. You're out here venting to girls half your age, bitching, it sounds like, and complaining and mansplaining to these young girls that, oh my God, life is so hard because I just had a baby. I thought it was going to be all roses and cakes and flowers and ponies and unicorns. Anyway, not only that, but he was excited. He was excited that his wife and kid were out of town. So you literally have a brand new baby, a wife who is still healing at home because men, maybe you do know this. I know a lot of men here are intelligent. Some people in general are not. When your wife pops a baby, it takes like over a year actually for the uterus to heal, right? Fully. Wife is out of town. So that means she traveled far away out of town to go visit maybe her parents. And he's over here saying, oh, I'm so glad to have the house to myself again. Phew. It sounds like he really likes the bachelor life. And that's great. But then don't get married and then don't pop babies. Then definitely don't go rant to drunk college girls about your horrible life, about your horrible existence. Okay. He's not necessarily husband material. He's not necessarily father material, but none of that really matters. But I'm just painting a picture of the type of person that he may be, right? Because why? Because motive, potentially motive. He dropped them off at the corner club and told them he would be driving until 3 a.m. So wait a minute, we missed this before, right? He told Kaylee and Maddie that he was going to be driving until 3 a.m. So why then is Dylan texting Eric at 2 a.m.? Why is she having to text him? Dylan, I thought that Kaylee and Maddie were home at 1:45. And if so, and if you guys are supposedly all wanting to go get food again from the food truck, then why are you still texting Eric? He told Kaylee, he told Maddie that he would be driving at 3. So why are you needing to text him? You already have that information, right? Because if she had actually communicated with Kaylee and with Maddie, they would have said, no need to text him. We know he's still driving because he said he would be driving until 3, right? I'm going to pull up this other document, part of the Idaho State Police interview. On Friday, November 11, 2022, he had worked until 3 a.m. He started driving again until 10 and 11 on the 12th. Beginning at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, he had steady work until 3 or 4. Okay, so we're learning that Eric drove for basically 12 hours in a row. It sounds like he had steady work from the 12th into the 13th, right? From 3 to 4 p.m. until 3 or 4 a.m. This is something that so many people have missed, guys. Okay. He claims to have steady work, right? For 12 hours straight. Show me a legit alibi. Stop with the Taco Bell random ass receipt bullshit. I want an alibi because, sir, if you had been driving for 12 hours straight, then we know damn well, according to you, Eric Gower, according to you, you said, sir, that you never give rides for free. So I want to see the logs because if you're driving, whether on your own or through Uber, which I find very, very creepy that he claims to drive for Uber, but then he turned it off. He turned Uber off and he was driving by himself. So, how are you keeping track of this? And you must have some sort of log to keep track of the expenses or the income that you're getting, right? And maybe not. Maybe he's just taking cash. Maybe he's not reporting that earned income. But my point is that he claims he was driving until 3 or 4 in the morning, and all you can give me is a fucking Taco Bell receipt. Sir, you claimed you were working, you had work for 12 hours straight. You had people that you were driving for 12 hours straight, meaning that then there would be people that you were driving at that time. So why is that not the actual alibi? Why are you showing me a random ass piece of paper? And this is why I mentioned that the investigation is so botched, because one would assume anybody, any of us here with some fucking common sense and some brain cells would assume that the first thing that Idaho State Police and Moscow PD should have done is to go find the people that he was allegedly driving around 3 or 4 a.m. and go ask them questions. That would be the alibi, not a random Taco Bell receipt. Okay? So I'm done with people saying, but he was just a driver. He was a friend of the family. The Gonsalves family said that. Okay, the Gonsalves family said a lot of things. And I personally think that we should take everything any family member has said with a grain of salt, right? We are only looking at factual information here. And the fact is that Eric is claiming he was driving until 3 or 4 in the morning. So then where the fuck is your alibi? Because we love to get Brian Koberger shit, right? Oh my God, Nika, I cannot believe that you still believe the story about him looking at the stars. He was stargazing. Okay, but we're supposed to believe that Eric Gower was driving people until 3 or 4 in the morning, but he doesn't have those people that he was driving as an alibi. We're supposed to just ignore that. We're not supposed to question that. We'll just go by the Taco Bell receipt. Where are the people that you were driving? Who were you driving around? See how that's really shady? Who were those passengers? Did he even have any passengers? I mean, this man is a man that bragged about having the house to himself right after his wife popped the baby. This is the man who took a whole week off after the crimes. This is the man who has some of the closest ties I have seen to law enforcement. He likes to play Santa for them, right? If you look at the yearly reports, we can see he's always volunteering. And I have no problems with people volunteering, but this is the fact of the matter. That if you see some sort of incel, autistic, dark hair, whatever you want to call Brian, that's usually not the person that we should be concerned about in these types of crimes. These types of crimes are usually committed by people who are very mentally ill. And I'm not talking autism. I'm talking sociopathic, psychopathic, aka antisocial personality disorder. And these people with ASPD who score high in psychopathic traits, guess what? Guess what psychopaths look like? They don't look like Brian Koberger. No, sir. No, ma'am. They look like people who blend into the community, who have ties with a lot of people who are friendly, and nobody ever guesses that they were psychopaths. Okay? They're decorated. They have degrees. They were part of fraternities. Oh, they're friends with the cops. Oh, we're so helpful. We like to drive drunk girls around. Because volunteering, okay? Those are the people you have to watch out for. And to top it off, his wife also worked for Moscow PD. But also him, right? He was also doing volunteer work with Moscow PD. Being Santa for Christmas. That means he knows most of the officers, if not all of them. That means he probably has very close relationships himself with the cops. Okay? So this is weird, okay? He drove until 3 or 4 a.m., but no passengers have come forward. No passengers were questioned about your alibi. Yeah. All right. All right, dude. And people are upset when I talk about this because we know Dylan probably played a role. Hello, Too Fast for Fleas. Thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We know Dylan probably allegedly could have played some role in all of this. We look at this timestamp again, right? She's texting Eric Gower at 2:10 a.m. Eric Gower text back at 2:13 a.m. At 2:53, MM calls Bethany Funk. Who is MM? Because a lot of people have said that that's Maddie Mogan. Could it be Molly Meth, the driver? I don't know. At 3:51, Dylan is creating a new contact in her phone. At 4:19, Bethany's calling Dylan. At 4:20, Dylan is calling Xana. At 4:20, Dylan is calling Kaylee. At 4:20, Dylan is calling Bethany Funk. At 4:21, Bethany's calling Xana. 4:21, Dylan calls MM. At 4:22, Bethany calls MM. 4:22, Bethany calls Ethan. All right after, right? What's crazy is that when you compare this timestamp to the other timestamps, what do we see? Oh, interesting. Because Dylan was on Instagram right after the murders. Right after the murders, bro. And people are like, yeah, Nika, but context is important, okay? They were just checking on Instagram to see if the other four were online, to see if they were online on Instagram. Okay, fine. You want to give her the benefit of the doubt? Then why are you also on Indeed? Why are you also on Indeed? Instead of checking on them with your own eyes? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Holly Berry, for the $9.99. I really appreciate it. That's crazy to me, right? Common sense. It goes a long way, people. Goes a long way. They're literally in the same house where this horrific crime is taking place. It's like you're hearing all of this go on in the background, but you're not going to get up. You're not going to go check. You're not going to call the police. You're not going to call any of the guys, any of the males that you know over. Come on. We've heard Bethany mention that she heard a plastic cup falling. You heard a plastic cup falling, but you didn't hear your friends being unalived. This house echoed. Everything would have been most definitely heard. There's also, of course, Hunter and Emily, which I personally do not trust because we've seen the Netflix docuseries. I covered it here with you guys. And Emily is saying that when she woke up to Hunter locking the door. Oh, yeah, he just happened to wake up at 3 in the morning or whatever and lock the door. I saw him and he was locking the door. What was actually happening? Because it's also very possible that maybe Hunter wasn't even there. Did she wake up and just happen to catch him entering back into their house? And he made it seem like, oh, I'll go back to sleep, babe. It's just me. I'm just locking the door. I'm just locking the door. I don't trust them. Um, I'm not a body language expert. I do have a psych background, but I don't have a body language. But if you look at their body language, it's weird. It's weird. And I just wonder if supposedly Dylan and Bethany are calling everybody. Can you hear the victims' phones while you're calling them? Did they hear that? Did the cops ask them that? Because technically they would have heard it. Again, this is a home that echoed. Everything echoed. So Bethany was on the phone with her dad asking for advice. What kind of advice? Was it the toothache that we were made to believe? It was a toothache. And it just makes me wonder if something happened around 2:10 to 2:53 a.m. because when we are looking at this record that I just went over, with you guys, there is a pretty large gap in their cell usage, right? And then right after 2:53 a.m., she's on her cell phone constantly. It's continuous. And this makes me remember what was mentioned originally, that what was it? 2 a.m. was the dark hour. A lot of people were posting not only on 4chan but other forums that the crime allegedly happened at 2 a.m. And it kind of would explain the gap in her cell usage, right? The more we look into things, the more I have zero trust in Moscow Police Department, because this doesn't sit well with any of us, right? Whether Dylan and Bethany were involved directly or indirectly, or whether they know something. That's my opinion. But they definitely seem like they knew what was taking place inside 1122 King Road. And Jack Showalter, strangely enough, seems to know everyone. And he's not telling the truth about that for whatever reason. He's pretending he doesn't know Kaylee. It seems like a big cover up, right? And yes, of course, we have covered the potential theory that maybe this is a psyop. Maybe this is was something much larger. We know that soon after the IDAHO4 took place, the Aryan Brotherhood gang, Jesse James Bailey, all of them, it was one of the largest drug busts in history. So is this where Brian Koberger comes in? Was he a CI? Was he working with the cops already? Is this all just, I don't know. And I still wonder, who is that contact that Dylan added to her phone at, what time was that at? Let's see. 3:51 a.m. Who was this contact? And why don't we know who this contact is yet? And why don't we know what pictures were taken? And why don't we know what was deleted between her and her dad? And why don't we know what she was talking about to her dad when she was FaceTiming him? And why don't we know what she was talking to her mother when she called her mother? Why don't we know that? All that we know is that Bethany had a toothache and called her dad. But that was way later. That was way later. This just gets wilder and wilder. I don't know what to think anymore. Um, this phone records part, it could be its own video, like on its own. It literally could. You know, part of me understands that Moscow PD, they have no experience in crimes like these because things like these don't happen in Moscow, right? But we know that ISP was involved. We know that the FBI was involved. So, did anybody even bother to look into the water usage bill? You know, was Moscow PD smart enough to do this? No, they were not smart enough to do this, right? They could have done a lot of things. And I mentioned water usage bill because if anybody in that home had been cleaning up post crime, then that water usage would have been much different than the months prior. They also could have looked at the Wi-Fi router information to see if whose phone pinged. Because if Brian had actually been in the area, they would have found it could have potentially pinged to the Wi-Fi, not some random fucking tower. So where thousands of other people pinged, right? Why are they having to go off of a random cell tower when I know that anytime you connect to somebody's Wi-Fi, or even, let's say you don't have the password, if you connect to it and it prompts you to maybe join it, it's pinging. It is pinging. So if Brian Koberger was actually there, then his phone would have pinged off the Wi-Fi router. But no, Moscow PD was not smart enough to do this either. And it makes me wonder if they didn't do this because maybe they did do it and maybe they found that other people's cell phone had pinged to the Wi-Fi router information, right? I want to know, what time did Xana and Ethan's phones connect to home? What time did they connect to the Wi-Fi? What time did Kaylee and Maddie connect to the Wi-Fi? And who else had that password? And who else was there connected to the Wi-Fi or pinging off of the Wi-Fi inside of the home on that night? Okay. Moscow PD did 1/100th of the bare minimum. And, checking the water usage, that's not going to fit law enforcement's narrative. So why would they do that? Because it contradicts the narrative, right? Just like all of those other K bars that they found in several areas near Moscow. They found K bars, they found sheath, and what did uh where's my man? Hold on. Hold on, babe. Hold on. Oh, oh, oh shit. Ah. Y'all remember this? My little man? You remember this guy? This little guy? This little guy? Half pint pain? That's him. Y'all remember him, right? That's who said, we don't really need to look at those K bars. We don't really need to look at those sheets. Because I'm a bad bitch. Because I have high self-esteem. And I'm the lead investigator. And I don't have any experience, but still, we don't need to look at that. It doesn't really fit my narrative. So why would I look at other K bars? Why would I look at other sheets? Yeah. All right, Payne. Let me see. Let's see what names I find for Payne. This is just for fun. I'm done with the video, by the way. For those of you who don't want to waste your time here with me. Munchkin. We can call him Pee-wee Payne. Short round Payne. Runt Payne. Shrimp Payne. Shorty Payne. Shorty Payne. Thumbelina. You can call him Bubbles. Call him Goober. Goober. I don't know. I like Tater Tot. Tater Tot Payne or Tiny Top Payne. Hobbit Payne. Prince Payne. Mini Me Payne. Lovely Libra. This is from Temu. It's like half faded. It just says jelly tint. This was like $2. Tiny guy. I like Tater Tot. That's my favorite. Tater Tot Payne. He is an idiot. Hello, Holly Berry. Hello, Bis Rebecca. Hello, Suds. What's up? What's up, man? What's up, man? What's up? Be normal, Nika. Be normal. By the way, have you guys checked out my weird new channel? It's an experiment, and I've had so many ugly bitches. Literally. There's something about ugly women. A lot of them have very low self-esteem, and they will like pick on, they'll try to bully women who are more conventionally attractive. That is a scientific fact. Don't come at me. I'm just the messenger. So if that channel is not for you, babe, it's not for you. It's an experiment. You don't have to let me know. Okay? Just go. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, okay? Don't let the door hit your ass. Cuz I've had so many ugly bitches that are like, but Nika, you don't talk about your family and you don't talk about your marriage or your children or whatever in the other channel. Are you fucking stupid? You dumb bitch. Okay, those are the same women, Annie, that get annoyed because I'm up here putting blush on, bro. Because I'm up here putting chapstick with some color. Like, I don't want you here, okay? Just go away. Again, it's an experiment, and obviously, I can't tell what that experiment is until post, you know. So, and by the way, just because I'm up here on YouTube, I've been doing this for over a decade, guys. So four channels now or something like that. 5 channels. I've lost track. Doesn't mean that we are required to share anything about our personal lives. If we choose to share those private things, we choose to do it. But just because you ask questions doesn't mean we have to answer it, especially in a new experimental channel. So if you're somebody that is like very, you know, it's not for you, okay? Hello, Sassy. It's Nika. It's great to catch you live. Welcome, welcome, Annie. Welcome, Nadine. Sassy says it's so great to catch you live. Please excuse my previous partial message. No worries. As one divided, the authorities were not really seeking out the rideshare. They were focused on DoorDash. Molly Meth. Molly Meth is a mess. Miss Q. Hello, aloha. Nadine and Annie chilling in the chat. Hello, Francie Fran from Texas. Oh my gosh, I love Texas. Welcome. Hello, Misinformation. Hello, Holly Berry. Eric is not exactly husband of the year material in this moment. I heard, don't know, I'm not going to spread this rumor, but supposedly he was divorced. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I would be happy for her if she was. Why a Taco Bell receipt, says Annie. Yeah, why? Why? Linda says EG is sus to me. And I'm the only one that has pointed out that I know of. I'm the only one that has pointed out that his dad lived right by the Delphi case. He lived right in that area. I'm the only one that has pointed out the fact that fucking Eric Gower looks so much like the original sketch. The original sketch of the Delphi case. It looks like twins. And I've shared that. Go watch those videos that I made on Eric Gower 3 years ago. I'm like, how am I the only one making this connection? That he magically happens to have a dad who lives right by where the Delphi case took place. The fact that Eric looks just like the sketch, the original sketch, which was then changed to look like Richard Allen. Eric drove 12 hours. Molly drove 12 hours. Right, Holly Berry? She says, I thought we'd read he did indeed have a different alibi, but he did not. So where the fuck are the people that you were supposedly driving from 3 to 4 a.m.? Cheryl, what's up, Nika? I hope you're doing well. Been dealing with some BS from VA. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then COVID. You rest a lot, okay, Cheryl? Nadine, as one Molly says, she saw a girl with dark hair in the door window that was dark. I also thought in that moment that it was Emma Bailey. She was friends with D. Could be Emma, could be Xana. Xana also has relatively dark hair. You know what you're doing with that thumbnail. What thumbnail? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, broski? The one where I'm shocked? Oh my God. You've never seen a woman shocked? Or you've just never seen a woman? So that's kind of what it's sounding like, Big Bump. Sounds like you've never seen a woman. You never felt the touch of a woman? Is that why you're putting that on here? That's what it sounds like. Get out your basement and go touch grass, okay, Big Bump? Get out of the basement and go touch grass. When I see a man that's like, you know what you're doing with that thumbnail with your mouth open, I'm like, you ain't never felt the touch of a woman, have you? Okay. You've only felt the touch of your hand and cocoa butter, like they do in prison, right? That cocoa butter. Go touch some grass, babe. Get some sunlight on your skin, okay? Okay. Kai Wildcat, I'm excited to make a live welcome. I'm sorry if I missed any of you guys. I feel like this chat is, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. It's going so fast. How you speak without filter. I can't filter myself. I am autistic and I have ADD. I also have high IQ, but I guess it's not like PC to say that because people are like, nah. So guess we won't talk about that. Men complaining about babies have Peter Pan syndrome. EG's a loser, says JJ. Thank you. Allie says people are so dumb. Creators don't do the nails on where the video's free. Stupid videos do that on their own. Nadine says no Molly, but EB is also very dodgy and was involved with her BF and the students passing away in their fentanyl. Yeah. And Molly is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right, Reese? Why is she always saying she's friends with... Did she say she was friends with Chief Fry or Bill Thompson? I don't remember, but either way is fucking weird. Fucking weird. I don't like it. I don't like any of this. Though Eric is beyond fucking weird, says Holly Berry. And why did only Dylan reach out to him? Marianne says the only one whose face was mutilated was Kaylee. Not. I mean, I don't know. Right? Because Ethan was carved. His legs were carved. That is very personal. So I think people who have tried to make this only about Kaylee, it's like, that's not the right direction. Again, I am with the agreement of some of the agents that shared their educated opinions regarding this, which was what? That there were probably separate attacks, probably at least 3 people. And if you did not watch yesterday's live, Marion, maybe you'll appreciate that. Because let me know your thoughts. Is it possible that, somebody could have attacked Ethan and Xana for one thing and then Kaylee and Maddie for something else? Sud says 30 and 50 stab wounds is a personal attack. Acid attacks, there was nothing mentioned about acid. I'm not sure where you heard that rumor, but I haven't seen it in any of the documents. Now, I'm not perfect, so maybe it isn't an illegal document. If it is an illegal document, send it my way. You can find me on Instagram. It's always in the description. That's it for the day, guys. I've been on here. Oh my goodness. You're welcome, Marion. Bye, guys. Bye, Marion. Bye, JJ. Bye, Holly Berry. Bye, everybody. Bye, Suds. Bye, all y'all. All y'all in the chat. Thank you for joining me in today's video and today's live. I'm glad a lot of you guys made it. That being said, I never ask you guys for super chats. I never ask you guys for cash apps. I never ask you guys for super stickers. I never will ask for those things for myself. That's just me. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. But I do most definitely ask that you help this video by commenting not only in the current chat, but when I end the stream, please go post a comment or an emoji or something in the comment section, because that promotes this video to more people. And that's what we want, right? Because I'm literally putting in this work after my regular work, after feeding the family and everything else that people do in their regular lives, right? It's not like I'm a full-time YouTuber. You know, I have a job. I have a life. This is just something I do to try to expose the corrupt shit that's going on within our justice system. So leave a like and also make sure to vote, right? If you think what I shared with you in this video is suspicious, Dylan, why did you need to text Eric if you already knew that he was going to be driving till 3? Kaylee and Maddie knew. They didn't let you know. If you think that's a little weird, leave a 1. If you think it's completely normal, also that Eric didn't have an alibi, an actual alibi, leave it 2. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.